right, I think we're recording. Don't know where that's going to go when we're done, but we'll get started here. So, reverse dieting, what is it? So, it's an eating plan that kind of involves like gradually increasing your calorie intake over a period of several weeks or months to boost your metabolism and help your body burn more calories through the day. In simpler terms, it's increasing food and lowering cardio so that your metabolism goes up. So when we start, I get your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. So that's what your body needs to maintain where it's at right now. And I usually put you in like a 300 to 500 calorie deficit. So when I reverse you, I'm getting you back up to that TDEE, but we're slowly working back up to that so that you are getting your metabolism adjusted and you're not going to gain a whole bunch of weight. Does that make sense? Awesome. So who is reverse dieting for? So usually you start reverse dieting when you've reached your goal and you're ready to get back to your maintenance calories. So you cut down to your goal weight or what you wanted your physique to look like. Or you're to the point where you're just starving, you're low energy, your sleep is impaired, your libido is shot, lack of like appetite, recovery is taking forever, lifting seems impossible. It's like a whole bunch of things, like symptoms that aren't supposed to be happening. We're gonna reverse you. Obviously, like, well, if you're having those symptoms, we'll work with it for like 2 weeks and we'll try to like give you some refeeds to make sure that's what's going on before I just start reversing you. But sometimes your body does just need like a refeed. So a refeed is usually like 2 days with 50 extra grams of carbs. So it's your body's just getting a little bit more food. But going back to like reverse dieting and who it's for, if you've been cutting for months and aren't like making any more progress, we're kind of just plateaued. If you're eating very low calories for your body and you don't have a whole lot of room to cut, so like say you're at 1500 calories and I don't want to bring you below 1500, so um, we would probably reverse you at that point so that we can get you a higher metabolism so that eventually once you're done, so once you get back to maintenance, you want to hang out at maintenance for at least half the time that you were in a deficit. So say you were in a calorie deficit for, we'll just use 6 months for easy numbers. You'll want to stay in maintenance for about 3 months before you cut again. That way your metabolism kind of gets used to that maintenance calories. And then when you cut again, you'll be able to cut less because when your metabolism's running so at like a higher level, you're not going to have to cut so many calories out to lose weight. It'll just be easier to have the weight come off. Does that make sense, guys? Awesome. And if you guys have any questions at all and don't want to interrupt me or anything, you can just pop them in the chat if you don't want to forget about them. So how do you do this? How do you reverse? So it obviously varies on person to person. So with some people, you have to reverse super slow. Others, you can add 300 plus calories right off the get-go, and they're fine. But as a general rule, like you want to move as quickly as possible through reverse to build your metabolism and alleviate like symptoms while mitigating like weight gain. So usually what I do is I start by doing like 10 to 20 grams of carbs or 5 grams of fat, give or take. If you're moving too slow, obviously your unwanted symptoms can persist longer than they need to. So that's why you kind of want to go rapidly through the reverse. But if you're going too fast, you also might get like potential unwanted weight gain. So it's just kind of finding that happy medium. However, it is really normal to gain like 1 to 5 pounds through a reverse. It's not fat. It's mostly like water weight because you're getting more carbs, and more carbs means more glycogen. So that means more water retention. Also, you're eating more. So you're going to have more food in your system. So you're going to have more weight in your body, you know? So I think when I did mine, I gained around 3 to 4 pounds, give or take a little bit. But you couldn't really tell. Like I still looked like, my physique looked like my cut physique. Does that make sense? Okay. Awesome. So How do you know if you should go faster or slower? Obviously, I'll walk you guys through the process. I'll be there monitoring it if you're still with me at that time. Hopefully, you are, because learning a reverse is kind of a little bit tricky to go by yourself. Actually, Rachel is probably going to be going through one in a couple of months, and so I'm excited about that. It's such a fun process. It really is. Just getting more food in your system is awesome. But okay. So if you so how should you go faster or slower with your reverse? So faster if you're still losing weight. If you're not gaining weight at all, your metabolism is cranking rapidly without any issues, meaning you're eating a lot more and your body is reacting perfectly to it. Your hunger is still through the roof. And if you like increased your NEAT, so like you're walking or like everyday activity, if that went up, you're gonna want to for sure go through it a little bit quicker. If you go through a little bit slower, if you are gaining weight too rapidly, you'll want to slow it down. If weight requires a full 2 weeks to stabilize, lack of adherence or consistency, so if you're not following protocols, a lot of times I see with reversing, you're like, oh my gosh, more food, I get to eat whatever I want, and then you kind of like stop counting macros. Like I for sure definitely wanted to do that when I started, or I was grabbing like bites and licks and tastes every time I walked into the kitchen. So it's kind of a mindset thing with reversing. You definitely still want to count your macros, make sure that you're being consistent so your metabolism can catch up without gaining a whole bunch of weight. And then if you say you just stopped working out, then obviously we're going to want to slow that down a little bit. So the main things to watch out for during a reverse, like I just said, overeating episodes. So people like to say like, yay, I'm done, and have like a fuck it mentality, and they're eating like 2,600 calories a day. Most women's TDEE is around like 1,900 to 2,500. So you always, that's kind of going to be the goal. Obviously, we want to calculate everyone's TDEE to make sure that we're at that point. But some people just get in that mentality like, I'm done, and just start eating whatever the fuck they want and blow through their reverse. And then we're back at square one and have to cut you again and then get you back up to root maintenance. So that's no fun either. You definitely will probably gain a few pounds, like I mentioned earlier. You just gotta embrace it. Like I said, you're eating more food, which means more glycogen, which means more water, also more food, more shit. Sorry, I put LOL in there. I get so nervous for these things, so I do have like a whole thing written out. So sorry. But so every time you bump up your calories, weight can pop up the next day or the next week. This is perfectly normal. Typically it levels up back out within like a week to 2 weeks. So if that does happen, we'll just wait a week to 2 weeks before we go ahead and bump up to the next like 10 grams of fat or 10 grams of carbs, whatever it is that we're doing at that point. So usually you do want to try to stick to like bumping every week to 2 weeks. That way we're just kind of moving at a steady pace. Getting through a reverse usually takes about 2-ish months. Again, give or take, depending on how your body reacts. But, and then if you gain a pound every single week, we're going to slow it down, obviously. So your weight, we'll let your weight we will let your weight stabilize before continuing with the next calorie bump. So what is the end goal? No question so far, right? Okay. So the end goal, obviously, is to just feel strong, more energized, be fed, and just be capable of doing whatever you want to do. Also, weight is stable for multiple consecutive weeks. You're not gaining, you're not losing. Cardio is low, and you're pretty much just focusing on getting your steps in. And then maintenance calories are around that 1,900 to like 2,500 for most women. So that's the end goal. And then obviously just like being able to eat and kind of have that food freedom and really not have to like worry about if you're going way over on your macros when you go out to dinner or something, you know? So how long till you can cut again? So again, depending on everyone, depending on like the severity of your symptoms that you had during your cut, that like we might stay on maintenance for 2 to 6 months, or sometimes people even had to stay on like a maintenance phase for a year. Honestly, you can stay on maintenance as long as you want. I mean, you can live on maintenance. That's your maintenance calories. But if you are looking to get like that tone look that everyone wants, you know, and everyone raves about, what most people do is they'll first do their cut, see where they're at, then we're going to get them back up to maintenance. And then at that point, you're eating a lot more food, so your lifts are going to be way better. You're going to be pushing a lot more weight. Sometimes people go through a bulk so that they can just really put on a bunch of muscle at that point, and then they'll get cut again so that when you cut, you get that tone looked and your muscle is kind of coming through. Does that make sense? So tone, honestly, guys, it means gaining muscle or having muscle mass and losing the fat on top of it. That's pretty much all that toned is. So when people are like running and they're like, I want to get toned, we're like, that's not how it's going to work. You got to put muscle on, you know? So with cutting, it really just depends on what your goals are. If you are happy with where you're at after your first cut, you can hang out at maintenance for as long as you want. Most people will usually hang out with it for like 2 to 6 months, put on a little bit of muscle, and then cut again, and then see where they're at with their cut, and then go through the reverse phase again so that their TDE is back up. And usually it goes up even a little bit more after you reverse multiple times. Make sense? All right. I can only see Kara and Paige's face, so if anyone else is doing anything, let me know. Awesome. So when do you know if it's time for you to reverse, and why? We already went over that. Sorry. Okay. So now that you know about reversing, why do people even want to do it? We kind of went over this as well. It's just more food, more energy. You're symptom free. Say like you lost your period, or you're like your hormones are out of whack. That's when we'll reverse you for sure. You're not doing cardio at all, really. You're just hitting your 10K steps a day. Optimally functioning metabolism, indulgences don't affect you as much. So say you go out and have ice cream, it probably will fit in your macros because your calories are way up, you know. Lifting heavier equals more muscle, getting you that toner look that we were just talking about. Promotion of hormone health, all your favorite foods fit back into your macros. You're just happier overall because when you're eating a lot more, you're happier. We know that. We all get that hangry, you know. And then just better performance in workouts and the ability to cut at higher calories in the future. So like I was saying with your TDEE, once you reverse, you're going to be back up at your TDEE, but you can cut again, usually at lower calories because your metabolism is much higher than it was the first time. So any questions, guys? Don't be afraid to ask if you do.
So sorry, I don't know if I missed this, but is it just your calories that are increasing, or is it like your macros all go up?
Yeah, it's your macros. So
That makes sense.
yeah, so it'll be like 10 grams of carbs one week, and then the next week it might be 15 grams of carbs again, and then we'll head over to fats and do like 5 grams of fats, because we know fats have more calories in 1 gram than carbs do. So that's a good question.
Makes sense.
Hayden, Rachel, any questions?
Not right now.
No?
No.
I don't have any right now.
All right, perfect. Paige, you? No? Awesome. You guys made this way too easy on me. Thank you for bearing with me in my anxiousness. I'm going to take a photo, so make sure you guys are smiling, okay?
Oh, crap. All right, let me get in it then. Sorry, I've been like unloading groceries. That's why
No, you're fine.
I'll
It's fun to post it, so.
I don't know how to turn the camera on.
Bottom left corner, there's a video. Do you see that?
Does they start video?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh no.
You're fine.
Okay.
I haven't showered. I worked out this morning and have not showered since, so it's fine, guys. All right, everyone smile. Hayden, did you just?
Well, everyone's so far away. I don't want to be the only one way up close.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, if you do have questions later on, you can always text me. But otherwise, I think all of you guys have check-ins tomorrow except Hayden and Rachel. So, all right, I will talk to you later then. Thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tell me-
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.